Sensitive content incoming.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 19 of the Squatch and Yeti Show. I'm Squatch.
I'm Yeti.
We got a very interesting little topic to talk about today, which we'll jump into in a minute.
But is it very interesting, or is it just a topic?
I think it's interesting. Okay.
I mean, I'm not saying it's
I'm
not
gonna go ahead and
interesting.
just say it. Like, don't tell me you didn't spend your whole life thinking dragons are awesome.
Oh no, they are. They're still amazing. Like, I believe there's a series called House of the Dragons, right?
Yes.
That Game of Thrones thing.
Yeah, the prequel.
Yeah.
Not as good as Game of Thrones, but
Shun me for this. I've never seen nor read Game of Thrones. Well, I've only seen the first season of Game of Thrones when the lead Stark guy gets decapitated.
yeah.
I just I stopped watching after that because that actor, super fan of, he played Boromir in Lord of the Rings and stuff.
Yeah.
Why do they always kill him off in the first film, the first series? I get it, it's the story, but put him as a different character than fucking assholes.
They talk about Hollywood people being typecasted. He is typecasted as the guy that dies.
I guess it's bullshit.
Like the guy that plays Jon Snow, he's just the dude in black.
What?
Because for anyone that doesn't know, he is supposed to be Marvel's Black Knight.
Black Knight?
Yeah.
This is a character I don't know of.
Yeah, so Marvel's more like mystical type characters.
I thought that was Moon Knight.
It's all within that.
Oh, okay.
So I know you said you haven't seen the Eternals, right?
No.
Well, the guy that plays Jon Snow, he is Cersei's boyfriend in the show.
Okay.
And when she, I forgot what they're called now. The
Celestials?
Yeah. When the celestial reaches down to Earth and takes Cersei or whatever her name is.
Yeah.
She's there with her boyfriend, and you see him at the post-credit scene, he's opening this deal with a sword, and you see Mahershala Ali's blade in the background say, "Are you sure you want to do that?" Because the story of the Black Knight is the more he uses the power, the more evil he becomes, because it's a cursed power.
It just sounds like the all black sword from
Kinda.
Like Null and everything.
Kinda.
Are they trying to loop those together maybe?
I don't know exactly, but I know because they've been talking about bringing in Captain Britain and all that.
Yeah.
And Captain Britain and the Black Knight did a lot of stuff together in the comics.
I've never heard of Black Knight, so that's why I was confused. I was like, Black Knight?
Well, the irony is, because we don't know, but in the Game of Thrones, when Jon Snow gets sent back to the Wall, the joke is made, the comments made something about next time you see me, I'll be in black. Which when he was on the Wall, they wore black furs and stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm that's funny. That was his exit from Game of Thrones, and then he's supposed to come back as Marvel's Black Knight.
Interesting.
And I loved his character in Game of Thrones.
I probably should sit down and watch it. I've been looking for a new series to watch or something other. I like Marvel stuff. Don't get me wrong. We've had this talk before. I'm not a big fan of the Marvel series. There's a few of them I'm okay with. Excuse me. But when I watch a show on Netflix, all these streamings or whatever TV back in the day, I wanted it to be something like Peaky Blinders.
Yeah.
Peaky Blinders is a fucking phenomenal show.
Oh,
the constant just gang stuff, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't necessarily make me want to be a gang member or anything that or that kind of crap, but it's so interesting to see a pastime of how different locations of the world were. So that series on Hulu I've been trying to get into is Shogun, where it's quite literally what it's about. It's about a feudal Japan shogun that is starting to adapt Western world technology and stuff. From what I've seen of it, that may not be what actually is going on, but that's the gist of what I got from the trailer. I'm that show looks really good. Not to mention the guy who plays the Shogun is a really good Japanese actor.
Yeah, I've seen a few things about the show. I've been really wanting to watch it, but
dude, it's one of those shows like I want to watch it with someone so we can converse about it after the episode. And I want to make it to where and I try not to really binge watch shows. Like I like to make it like it was back in the day, like
watch like an episode
Wednesday night. Yeah, Wednesday night we're going to be watching. We're just say Game of Thrones, right?
Yeah,
you're gonna watch Game of Thrones Wednesday night, and then we'll talk about it tomorrow at work. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I get that.
I understand binging.
So that's
but,
why, like,
I'm out.
With like Disney and a lot of the Marvel series and all that,
Yeah,
they're releasing like 1 or 2 episodes at a time.
Yeah, I mean,
and I dig that.
I do too.
It gives you that feeling of like, you know, when you started watching insert whatever show back in like 2001.
Yeah.
You know, you'd be sitting there in your family. Oh, the new episode of whatever's coming on. Let's watch it.
I think at the time it was Lost. Lost was the big thing back in that time.
Or all those god awful reality shows like Survivor.
I'd say Survivor, Big Brother, those kind of series. I didn't care for those, but I enjoyed watching Lost with my mom. I didn't understand what was going on, but like she clearly did. And like when The Walking Dead first came to be,
I really liked that one.
I enjoyed that.
Hit streaming services.
Yeah. Vikings. Vikings is another really good series. Again though, after they killed Ragnar, I was like, I get it. It's based upon like story, like actual Norse legends.
As far as post Ragnar's death was really good though. Like
I don't like, so critique me all you want, you comments, whatever, but like I don't like some of the actors. Like the guy they have playing Ivar, I don't like him. I don't like how
Ivar was supposed to be an obnoxious little shit.
I get that, but like I just don't like the actor himself. Like he just is weird to me. And like in Peaky Blinders, Michael's girlfriend from New York.
Yeah.
She looks like a fucking rat. Like I can't handle it. And what's even worse is that she is a little rat bitch. Like, I'm cursing a lot this episode. I'm sorry. And I was like, oh my God. Every time it was an episode with her, I was just like, what the hell, man? Like she's always doing something not okay. And I was just like, bro.
See, for me, Peaky Blinders is a show kind of like, which I kind of got on board with that late, so I binge watched a lot of it.
Yeah.
But Peaky Blinders was a show like, kind of like SOA, like it was really awesome. I actually like Peaky Blinders more than most of those shows because like there's a lot of like really hidden things you can learn watching that show. Like Thomas Shelby and that actor in general, the guy that plays him, I forgot his name. He is like the epitome of stoicism.
Yes, Cillian Murphy is amazing.
Like, have you seen how like you know he still holds on to like a lot of the old like Irish traditions and stuff of like when he got a chance to like meet the Queen or the royal family, like, and I can't remember what exactly it is, but like from years ago, like when the Irish was feuding with the British, they did little like, I can't remember what it was. It was like a nod of like disrespect to the British family, and like he still does that. Like it's like a cultural thing, and I respect that. Being 2024, and he still holds on to those traditions. Like,
yeah, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, like he also used his own child, I think, in Peaky Blinders. And
did he? I haven't heard that. But.
I think so. I'm pretty sure he did, because there was a scene where like he had to go and check on his little one because like it was an intense scene of the show, you know?
Yeah.
And he had to make sure that they were okay. And I don't mind that when they have like their kids come into the shows, because like it shows the kid like this is what dad or this is what mom does to put food on the table for you.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, we all went to work with our parents and stuff.
Yeah.
Can't tell you how many times. Excuse me. I held a carburetor in place while my dad installed it on a car.
I was going to say, my dad used to take me to a mechanic shop when he used to work at one. I had to be his little grease monkey, as he called me, because
at home my job was to hold the flashlight, but he couldn't talk like that at work.
Yep.
So I actually had to help there. I'm not working over there. I'm not working on the ceiling. I'm not working on the floor. I'm working right here.
Yep.
And before anyone thinks that sounds really bad, like if you grew up with a Southern dad, like
I think any dad who was any kind of mechanically inclined, like they were a bit harsh to you when you were working on vehicles. My dad did it. I know a few other friends of ours that their dads did it. Like, damn it, keep the light right here. And like they would grab your hand / light and like right here. They would show you like keep it right there.
Yeah, and the sad thing is, as a kid, like you're terrified, but then as an adult, like you go work on a car, and you're like, every little thing's going wrong, and you're mad at the fact that the wind is blowing from the east and not the west, and it has nothing to do with the car, but you are just flat out pissed about it.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
You're like, no wonder Dad was so mad whenever like I brought him the wrong wrench.
I get mad at myself for that. I'm like, oh, it's a 9mm. Fuck, no, it's a 13. Damn it. But yeah, man, like that's, I don't know how we got off on that, but yeah. I think it was the dare again comment at the very beginning. I say things weird, by the way. I'm going to be saying dare again a lot because I like messing with people. So, but yeah, before our little talk, after that little talk, how you been doing, man?
Man, I've been good. Just
been enjoying this weather.
The weather's been great. I mean, have my house opened up, no ACs running.
Yeah,
awesome. I get to wear a flannel comfortably.
Was had be a little bit less on the electric bill, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. Other than that, which been adjusting to changes at work because it seems like I get a new change every week.
I was going to say, I think you're more of a nurse than the nurses at this point.
Some of them, like, and it depends on who I'm working with, though, because, like, with that one nurse doing all kinds of extra stuff, then work with our usual, like, I got my side, and then I can get done and help y'all.
Yeah, do that.
Or they send one of the management nurses to help.
Yeah,
that's even worse.
Those are even worse because that quite literally we made the comment, the blind leading the blind. Like it's
just come get me if y'all need something.
No, I'll figure it out myself. I'm good.
It's not really supposed to work out like that.
Yeah, it's supposed to be you come get me if you need help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
other than that, it's been all good, getting ready. Grandma's turning 80 this week and going on a little trip this weekend for her birthday.
Florida? California?
I wish just Weatherford.
No, that ain't too bad.
But anyways, how you been, man?
Just dealing with this moving stuff I've been trying to get done, and like I said last episode, I've been struggling with some depression stuff, but I don't know if that's starting to clear or if maybe in my mind just like, shut the hell up, get shit done. So I'm getting shit done.
Maybe so.
Maybe. Hopefully my new arrangements will lend me the extra monetary that I need to get to where I need to go. Won't know until it happens.
Just set your mind to it.
Well, you're going to get in trouble. You're going to get in trouble.
Yeah, she's fine. We were talking about my dog that likes to come and interrupt the podcast. I'm not just talking about a random inanimate thing.
Yeah.
But, so, seen this come up on, like, some TikToks and stuff, and actually, a podcast I listen to.
Is it Butterflies and Ninjas?
Actually, no, not that one. It's actually a religious podcast I listen to.
For me.
And they were, these two guys, like, they were talking the Bible and stuff, and they got on the topic of dragons.
Oh.
So
that's what made you bring up
that, and then I saw a video, which I'm going to discuss what they said and why it made sense to me.
Okay.
But, like, creatures like dragons and stuff like that, like, kind of discussing like whether or not we think they're real or were real. Maybe they are real. Maybe they're, Think about playing games like
I was gonna say, like,
Ark and stuff like that. Like you go down in like the
I was just saying, like, I
volcano and there's a wyvern egg.
yeah. I was just playing that Warhammer game. Super fun. If you haven't picked it up, pick it up. Advocating it. It's so fun. It's really interesting because there's a creature in it or character. I don't know what you would call it, but it's called a Helldrake. I looked into it, and this is where I'm kind of deviating to a degree here, yes, but in the lore of 40K, a Helldrake is an abomination of mechanical, demonic power and a corrupted space marine. Yeah.
I'm having trouble even picturing that.
It's not okay. We'll just say that. And you don't get to fight it, but you get to see it, and it kind of like made me look into it. And of course, when you look up on Google and stuff, like these type of things, also you get sent down the rabbit hole. So I'm up for this. Like let's talk about it, and I'll loop back around to that Helldrake thing here in a little bit. Forgive me, I am struggling with acid reflux right now.
So
Excuse me.
On the question of like, are they real kind of thing, like. I'm going to go ahead and just jump straight into. I do believe that some form of dragons had to have existed.
Yeah, I will agree.
Like, for one, they are in
every
so
lore.
many different cultures.
Every myth, every folklore, every legend, like across different cultures, you have dragons.
I mean,
of some form. Or
whether they be like drakes, wyverns, a regular dragon,
the wyvern,
sea dragons.
Yeah, there's some form of I guess they would be. Would they be large?
I mean,
technically, yes. Like the way they're depicted.
Probably.
So
one thing that like really like kind of I saw this in a deal. It kind of hammers home like for me on like. With a lot of like, so when animals die, a lot of like the tissue and like stuff that makes up like the wings and all that, decays. So,
like the
I was watching a
stuff
deal. This guy looked at an X-ray of an ostrich. If you look at the X-ray of an ostrich, where its wings are, in which they have like a little claw on their wings, you just see like little T-Rex looking arms.
Huh. Wait, so you're saying that dinosaurs were dragons, maybe?
So
some dinosaurs, or maybe they all
possibly. I mean, maybe not fire and ice breathing dragons.
No,
but like the general idea. I mean, think about it. If birds are direct descendants of dinosaurs, which science has said they are, could there have possibly been like
that makes some sense though? Because if you think about like velociraptors and stuff, like. The name raptor itself alone is bird of prey and type things, right?
Yeah.
A velociraptor or raptors or whatever, Utah raptors, whatever raptor skeletal things you want to call them. If you look at how like the depiction of they are in like movies and stuff like Jurassic Park and such, that's not how they actually are. Like they were feathered,
Yeah.
Like science has proven that now, right? So who's to say? Maybe like some of these bones were discovered by like ancient cultures and like they might have, building their civilizations come across like skeletons of these dinosaurs that have been long gone, but get the whole like mummification type thing, like where they're preserved. So like they have wings, which would make sense. What you're saying of like the whole ostrich thing. So
like
that's how they like just perceived them then.
Even looking at other dinosaurs, okay, have the drake, the four-legged wingless dragon.
Yeah.
Okay, well, how do we all see like certain like maybe even like herbivore dinosaurs like
they were more Drake
Stegosaurus,
style.
Triceratops. We all see them pictured as like these fat, goofy things. But like, here's the thing: if you maybe depicted a Triceratops in a slightly more slender fashion,
Yeah, it's more
or
of a drake.
stego, it would look like a drake.
But it's more of a drake style than if you think about it that way. I mean,
Like, and then you got, like
I feel like your pterosaurs and stuff were more like wyverns than
yeah,
like your and those are more. I feel like they were more accurately depicted than like proper dinosaurs. Which, by the way, fun fact for you about the Yeti knowing have useless information. I mean, it's useless at the same time, not useless. Pterosaurs are actually different than dinosaurs. Like they're just roped in there because like they're the same time frame type things. Yes, but pterosaurs and stuff are way different than dinosaurs.
yeah.
So like, I mean, that makes a lot of sense. Like, what was it? The Aztec, or is it Mayan? Excuse me, it's Mayan culture. Maybe Aztec as well. I'm not too 100% on this,
One of
but
the South American tribal
Yes.
things.
yes, the Mayan culture I know for sure. You have Quetzalcoatlus, which was their version of like a worm type thing, was actually named, or excuse me, that myth was derived from Quetzalcoatlus, the fucking or the Quetzal dinosaur or pterosaur thing, a massive fucking creature that was the size of a freaking a prop plane. I can't English. If you think about that, dude, that's like a 30 to 40 foot wingspan.
Yeah.
That thing would just scoop you up as if you were a pebble on your shoe, and then proceed to either drop you and or eat you, or take you to be eaten by its young. Like, that's terrifying, man. And that's like the biggest one that we know so far. Like and maybe like they were onto something.
Yeah, and well, like, I mean, so look at like the worm like dragons or whatever.
Yeah.
Depicted heavily in like Asian culture.
I was gonna say like the Chinese and Japanese dragons.
Then you want to talk all the various cultures that believe in
So European.
like sea monsters like Leviathan.
I was gonna say you have a lot of like the southern hemisphere cultures that depict Darrigans and such as being like sea dwellers.
I mean-
Then you have up in your northern areas, like in a lot of European cultures, you have dragons and drakes being depicted everywhere. So, I mean, I believe that they were real because there's no way that they didn't exist at some point or another, because there's too many cultures across various times that have very similar.
See, I've had
Depictions
this
of creatures.
conversation with another friend of mine, and he's very like hardcore, science is God and all this. And,
Yeah.
like, if it's not in black and white, wrote by somebody with a PhD, it's probably stupid.
Yeah.
And he was like, and I can't remember the term he used for it because I brought up the whole, dragons have been in so many cultures for thousands upon thousands of years. Like,
Yeah.
there has to be some truth to the lore.
Yeah.
And he called it something along the lines, I can't English either, of like an ancestral fictional memory, something like that. Like, it's just something that's been like,
Just engraved into us.
yeah. And I'm like,
Well, even if that has been engraved into us, that still leads at some point
someone
that they
had to
existed.
someone had to come up with it somewhere.
Yes, and it's the same thing. I've had this topic off discussion. I've had this discussion off this topic of vampires and werewolves and stuff. They're the same line, man. Like there's a reason why we fear those things. I'm not saying that they were just made up on a whim of someone, but maybe they had been. But at the same time, there's too many cultures that have the same stories.
I mean, you go to like Louisiana and like the backwoods areas and tell them like vampires ain't real. Like,
Oh, dude.
they're gonna point you to like a really shady cult looking property and
Yep.
just
You probably don't want to go there. Yeah, no, I believe that stuff's 100% real, especially like dragons, werewolves, and vampires, those kind of things, I 100% are real because at some point or another, like the world is still undiscovered on a lot of aspects. Like these creatures could be dwelling in the hollow earth because that's another thing too. I believe in. Like, there's no way, man. Like, you don't just have all of these civilizations just disappear overnight with all this stuff. Like, I don't know. There's a lot of things you can think about.
Civilizations like, I believe it was like the Mayans, Aztecians, or whatever. Like
Atlantis is one of them too.
Yeah, like there's no explanation to why they're gone.
Well, they're starting to unveil the Mayan and Aztec cultures. I think it's like Czechs or something like that. I don't know if it's Czech is the word I'm looking for. There's like 3 different cultures that are all very similar with how they designed their infrastructure was completely almost mirrored each other. Like, but they were divided by continents, man. Like,
like the Aztecs,
how does that happen?
And Mayans and stuff, that was all like pretty heavily South American. But what's crazy is a lot of their temples and pyramids they built through this like weird mapping of the stars and all that line up with like the Egyptian pyramids and all, and that, I mean, that's a whole nother conspiracy for another day.
Back to the dragon stuff. I get it, and I want to say that they were real, and I know they're like, well, we haven't found bones of them. We haven't found fossils that they even existed. Maybe we have, like you were saying, the whole dinosaur stuff is like maybe some of those dinosaurs really weren't dinosaurs. Maybe they were.
Here's the thing:
a different creature
with the dinosaur bones. Even if these were dragons weren't real, how do we really know exactly how a T-Rex was structured?
Yeah,
because I've never seen a case where they've discovered 100% of the bones of a dinosaur. They may find most of them.
Yep.
And they just use what they know about our current body now and bodies now to
say they use
fabricate bones.
Let's say they use different creatures nowadays to replicate it, or they'll take, like they find the femur of a T-Rex.
Yeah.
They'll take that femur, like, oh, is this the left or the right side? And then, we'll just mirror that to the opposite side, and boom, we have both legs.
Yeah.
Like, we don't really know. And I know this can probably catch some flack, but whatever. What I also think is if Darrigans, wyverns, whatever, the things that could definitely fly, at least have been depicted to be able to fly in films and culture and everything.
Yeah.
With that being said, of our knowledge of avian creatures, their bones are hollow.
Yeah. I mean,
so that they can fly.
And that's why they
hollow bones
differently.
Yes. Hollow bones completely decompose absolutely different than like human bones, which are dense because we are not meant for flight.
Yeah.
Like natural flight. So like it makes so much sense. And not to mention, I mean, how far deep can we really go? Because what if these creatures were around at some point, but because of, I don't know, the millions of years that have gone by, dude, you have so much stuff that plays into it.
Explain to me also when people are like, oh, no, dragons weren't real, but we literally have species of modern dragons, and there's one, and I'm not talking about like a bearded dragon lizard.
No, I know what you mean.
Technically is like a descendant of the drake.
Yeah.
But there's one, I can't remember the name of it, but I want to say it's like an Asian lizard, but it has like the... like kind of like you would see on like a pterodactyl or whatever, the like flap of skin like a flying squirrel,
the membranes has. Membrane of the flesh.
I mean, no, they're not like, jumping off of trees and
fucking
flapping their wings, but like
they use them to glide,
like used them for gliding and stuff.
Isn't there a snake that does that shit? There's I don't remember where it's located. I don't know what the name of the snake, but like this snake, it's a viper of sorts. Let me just Google magic it. But from what I remember, this snake, it quite literally hunts in the canopies. I think it's in the Amazon. There's all kinds of shit in the Amazon. We're going to say it's in the Amazon. There's this fucking viper in the Amazon that relies 100% of the canopy of the trees to find its prey and survive. Because, well enough alone, people know, especially ones in the jungles, the floor of the jungles is the worst place to be.
Oh yeah.
So like if you're a snake, you really don't have much going for you in the way of defense and all that kind of crap. What are you going to do? You're going to go up high. So for it to hunt birds, other critters of the nature, lizards, whatever have you, even monkeys, I think, like smaller monkeys and stuff, this thing will jump from branch to branch and glide to the next branch by like when it springs itself forward, it flattens out and almost looks like what you would see as like a Chinese style of like worm, I think is what they're called, right? Like they're, I don't know what they would be called.
I'll tell you a fun fact, talking about like, snakes like that and stuff like that. I know you're not religious, but like we've all heard the story of Adam and Eve.
Yeah.
Technically in the Bible, it does not say a snake come up. It was a serpent-like creature, which actually in some cultures they depict it more like a dragon-esque creature.
Yeah.
And so I mean,
no, I know of the story, the story, that segment of like the Bible and everything. I used to be religious at one point. I know of it very well. Like I have family who's very religious, and they told me like Adam and Eve, or say Eve, was persuaded by a serpentine creature of sorts that wasn't very big, but it wasn't small either.
Yeah, and so of course, if you look into a lot of lore with dragons, they have like supposedly certain types have like mind control type stuff,
like psychic abilities.
Yeah, and and I mean, like from the religion angle, dragons are referenced in the Bible actually quite often, other than just the Adam and Eve story.
Really?
Yeah, there's like I have like a list right here, like
ow.
So like it refers to in the book of Job a sea dragon with leviathans and stuff like that. In the book of Revelation, it describes a great red dragon with 7 heads, 10 horns, and 7 crowns.
That's a hydra.
Yeah, and it's Revelation. It's like, for one, a lot of the references to dragons in the Bible are referring to like demons and the devil, like chaos bringing creatures. But
so that reminds me of some of the stuff from like stuff I enjoy. But if I'm not mistaken, in Greek mythology, was there not a hydra?
Yeah,
like it just continues in Norse mythology.
Yeah,
there's dragons.
Jormungandr, the world serpent.
The world serpent is technically
a worm.
Technically, yeah. And then there's, I can't remember what the hell is it? Fafnir.
Yeah,
the greedy dwarf god that became a dragon. Like because of greed, he was cursed by the gods to become a dragon. Where he like can't really die because he is. That's his whole thing. I mean, God of War would tell you otherwise. But
and God of War, everything
anything
God-like dies.
Let's say anything that can bleed, Kratos will make sure it dies. Like he's the what is it? What was it? Predator. If it bleeds, we can kill it. Like, is that? If I'm not, it might be Predator. I might be thinking of a different film. Because he finds out that he like there is bleeding or whatever, and he is like, if it bleeds, I can kill it, or whatever. I'm like, oh my god. I'm like, okay. So I mean, it just makes sense. Like, there's no way. Like, you can't have all these different cultures from across the globe. What do you want?
Yeah, and like, mind you, these are like cultures like that exist,
now
once the world is divided, not like, pre asteroids and whatnot, when like the world was supposedly one big landmass.
I was gonna say, so let me pick your brain at this then. Back when all the continents, before the massive continental drifting apart of Pangea, when it was just a giant landmass, right? Pangea. Yeah. We all know that. That was early science. We learned that. Sorry, I heard something. Who's to say that during that continental drift, when we had all those creatures and stuff living amongst each other, that maybe that these wyverns, these drakes, whatever you want to call them, what if they had the ability to procreate with other like-minded species, such as dinosaurs? I'm not saying it's true, but I'm also...
like, with that, like, you would have eventual, like, breeding out of their certain qualities, too.
Yes. So that's why there's drakes, there's wyverns, there's worms, there's the dragon, your typical one. But at the same time, we can go a little bit extraterrestrial with this, because I know it's just a movie, but Godzilla.
Yeah.
One of Godzilla's biggest foes is a 3-headed dragon from space called King Ghidorah.
Yeah.
What is fucking King Ghidorah, man? It is a 3-headed wyvern.
Yeah.
That comes from space. So, getting to my point, Pangea, maybe they did some inbreeding amongst themselves, these creatures. As the planet was starting to shift and start falling apart, in quotation marks on that, they were intelligent enough to leave. I
mean, could be.
Or burrow into the ground and have hollow earth. Because, like, that's still a thing I know, and that's, again, we can go back to that as another topic later on, but, like, what if that's a thing, though?
Well, like, it's like the whole, like, is it a Journey to the Center of the Earth or whatever? Yes. And, like, there's, like, dinosaurs and stuff down there. Like, imagine, like, what if you, like, were to burrow down and find, or maybe, like, like the whole Kong Godzilla thing, like porthole to like a hollow earth dimension or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it makes complete sense.
And you like, I mean, imagine that, like, you're just, I wonder what's down here. You go through the portal and then like a wyvern lands in front of you.
So this is completely off. I mean, that'd be fucking terrifying, but also like,
if it wasn't facing you though, like, tell me, you would be like,
it'd be like the scene from Jurassic Park is like, oh, they're real, like they're in the Jeep, they're seeing the dinosaurs for the first time, like they're just completely,
and then it looks at you and you're like, oh god, he's hungry.
And then that time you're fucked. I'll swoop back to this because that kind of brings me back to the Helldrake thing I was talking about previously. I'll get to that in a second. Holy hell, my mind just went blank. Oh. So what if it's, because like we said, there's all these different cultures that perceive Darrigans into a different form, different style, whatever have you. That's all conceived on somebody at some point. And shun me for this all you want. The same thing as the Bible. People, even myself, I know you're religious. Don't take offense to this, or listeners, don't take. I'm just talking out loud. Be open-minded, please. The Bible, the way I perceive the Bible is you have hearsay. It is at one point, this was actually written down, stone tablets or whatever, right? That is the commandments or whatever, that's the original Bible, right? So now you have all these different centuries have gone by, thousands of years, right? Where you have people now telling you their version of this. Does that make sense? You see where I'm leading with this?
I mean, yeah, but
I know it's going to catch a lot of flack, and that's fine. I understand. The way I perceive it, though, is you have a bunch of old people do it this way, seen it this way, and now there's newcomers coming in, and it's like I said, it's all hearsay. It's not the original piece. You have different interpretations, right? Getting to what I'm getting at with this is you have people who are terrified of mannequins, right? And this is another topic we could have. There's a reason for it. At some point in human history, maybe before we even started having the word history and started charting things down, there were things on this planet that used to hunt us that we still fear, such as aliens, Darrigans of sorts, vampires and werewolves, creatures of different mythology, different cryptozoology stuff. Those creatures very well may have existed because we have already proven that there were two different types of human species on this planet. You had Neanderthals, and then you had
The Homo sapiens.
the Homo sapiens.
Yeah.
They could breed together. Do you see where I'm going with this? Like, there's no way that we know entirely for sure that this is how it was done. And same thing, we can do a religious talk about that other stuff later, but like, that's what I'm using as my example, is because you have all these different sayings, all these different people just passing it down, and it's one of those things like it's the experiment somebody did with a troop of monkeys. They were like, you can go up here and get this stuff, but when you do, you're gonna get sprayed with water. They would slowly introduce new monkeys into the fray. The original ones would be like, don't go up there, you get hit with water. Until one goes up there, doesn't get hit with water, completely changes everything. So with that being said, you have the same thing with these Darrigans. Who's to say they don't exist then? We're just told they don't exist. You see what I mean?
Well, we're told a lot of things don't exist. You know, we were told by our own government since the dawn of the government that there's no such thing as aliens.
I'm about to say, and now they're
and
releasing.
then now they're like, yes, you know, we aren't alone in the universe. And
I mean,
which the sad thing is, they only said that because they were in the middle of a bunch of BS. And we're all like still focused on their BS. And we're like, yeah, no, that's fine. Martians are real, whatnot. Anyways, about the economy, and they're like, and then the government's like that guy from the History Channel, fucking aliens, man. You know what guy I'm talking about? Yeah. The guy that always looks like he just smoked the fattest blunt ever. He's like, fucking aliens, bro. Like they're out there, man. Like,
but that's what I'm getting at, man. Is like, who's to say like they aren't real or they didn't exist at some point? Our planet is too fucking old to not have seen something. And
I mean, if you like really look into the lores of various species and creatures we've been told aren't real, in America, like they found caves with like essentially like giant skeletons. Okay.
I don't like to think about that. That stuff creeps me out. I'm not gonna lie.
But like
an Amazonian woman though, like, you know, the ones that you see like in Futurama, I'm all for it. I want to die by snoo. Come on. I'm sorry.
Well, like, so there's a tribe, and I can't remember what state they're from, but somebody like in that tribe years ago wrote a book about a story they had told for like 200 years or so.
Yeah.
And about how that tribe essentially wiped out like the remaining tribe of the red-headed giants of North America. And they told the story on how like they trapped them in this cave basically, and then when the giants come out to attack them, they bombarded them with flaming arrows and essentially kept them there until they eventually died of starvation. And
wow.
like where this cave supposedly happened, like people went in there and they found like moccasin-like things that were just like 3 or 4 times the size of like a human's foot, and like just giant like drapes of clothing.
I say like tools and stuff too, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, I mean just stuff you would find in like a caveman's tomb or whatever.
Yeah.
But like, so like we've already, if you look hard enough, you can see just about everything they have said is not real.
Yeah.
We've debunked that it's out, either been there or is there. I mean, no, there's not a lot of proof on like the vampires and werewolves, but I think so. Here's the thing: you get these people on like TikTok and stuff, like, you know, I am a vampire, I'm a werewolf.
That's not.
Hear me out. We see so much of that crap that's fake and done for attention.
Maybe it's done intentionally to deviate us from actually seeing.
Yeah. So if we saw some guy that's like, hey, dude, like I'm really a werewolf. Yeah, sure, bro, and I'm fucking Frankenstein.
No, I get that, and that's why I'm saying, like, there's no way it's not real. Like,
I mean, think about it. You know, these, in theory, like, say, creatures like vampires, they live for hundreds and hundreds of years.
But so they can live for thousands of years.
So tell me this.
From what we're
would
told.
Would they not have the knowledge to possibly be up with the elites? Where there's all kinds of weird secret society BS?
Maybe they help control the world, what you're getting at?
I mean, maybe not even that, but here's the thing, like, you know, one of the major elite families of America, the Rockefellers.
Yeah.
When's the last time you honestly heard anything about them other than in a history book?
Up until just now, haven't really heard about them.
Yeah, exactly.
Up until just now, I haven't even heard the name Rockefellers since I was like maybe a kid.
Yeah, like in your 6th grade history book.
Yeah.
Like, but so think about this. Like, I mean, that could be a family of descendants of some creature like that.
Yeah.
Living there, and no one messes with them because they're like, and wants to question them because they're in like the elites kind of running shit, you know?
Well, and then what I was getting at, yeah, no, it makes complete sense. And what I'm getting at with my little thing is like witches and such have always been a thing for forever as well, too, right? So with that being said, witches obviously delve into like the dark magic of stuff, or just like I believe in magic, dude. I'm not gonna lie. Like
well, I mean, there's a lot out there that supports it, like witchcraft and stuff is a real thing.
No, I know. And it may just be like a coincidental type thing, but like I believe in that stuff wholeheartedly because like I've had my own run-ins with some paranormal things. What I'm getting with this whole like magic stuff is like the Helldrake thing I was talking about is an amalgamation of machine, demonic power, and corrupted man. We'll say that. Corrupted man. So that way we can stay all on the same board here. They literally fuse these, like this chaotic demonic power fuses all three of them together and forces this man, this human, this whatever thing to be corrupted. It fuses it with an inanimate object fueled by demonic power. It's not okay. Like, it's a blight against, things that are natural, which...
I mean, when you're delving into, like, the demonic and, like, robotic, like...
Yeah, like...
I mean, that really... I know it's from a game, but, like, that sounds like some, like, crazy premonition on, like, Revelations right there. Cause
that's what I was getting at. Like, maybe at some point... What movie is it? I think it's that movie Noah, where, like, it's... religious film to a degree. I think it is. It's not to a degree. It is a religious film. It's about Noah building the ark and everything. And there's a flashback or two where like the stone character, like the guardians or whatever,
the one with,
they're
like,
angels.
Gerard Butler or whatever. I think it's him.
No, I think it's Russell Crowe.
Yeah,
where he's like God is testing him on like he is trying to get him to kill his like grandchild or something. Like on the ark, a baby is born and like it's new life for humanity, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, no, God said to do this. And he's like, anyway, I'm going off topic here. In that film, like before even there was anything, like we all know that the Noah story is old as hell, man. Like people are still trying to find Noah's Ark. Where does that just go? Like what happened to it? In that movie, like it shows this guy wielding a flame sword, I think it's Methuselah, and like completely wiping out an entire army of men.
Yeah.
The stone creatures are fine, which come to find out those are angels that got cast out of heaven for whatever reasoning.
Fallen angels that basically were mingling with mankind.
Yes. Like they were meddling where they shouldn't have been meddling, and therefore God, that was your punishment. You get to go be on the earth now. Anyway, alongside those, man, like I really feel like in that movie there was probably not meant to be like what I was talking about, like the whole like meddling with magic and stuff, but that's how it came across to me. And that made me think of like the Bible and everything, with how they tell you about these creatures, these powers or whatever. Dude, it's the same thing with these dragons. It all stems from somebody having had seen something
Yeah.
to then pass it on. So obviously, as somebody who is a little skeptical with that kind of stuff anyway, I believe that, yeah, dude, it's real. Like, there's a reason why we fear certain things. Like, it's like your friend was saying, like engraving it into us. It is a primitive thing in our brains that these things, at least at one point, existed and or hunted us, and that's why we fear them.
Yeah.
But over a course of time, we're able to overcome them.
Yeah. Well, so like, take the, like werewolves and whatnot.
Yeah.
Okay. If that was just a damn story that someone made up in a book 100, 200 years ago.
They did a damn good job.
And no, wait.